All right, let's wrap these core features up by adding in our final core system to this, which is the target management system. To add this into your scene, you really just have to add in the prefab. The target manager is something that I think you probably shouldn't make on your own. Just use the prefab. It comes packed with the script already attached to it, as well as the user interface that allows us to see targets, which haven't been present in this example up until now. There you go, targets left 0. This is because I don't actually have any targets attached yet. And remember, I showed you in a previous video that to actually have targets be considered, I just have to drag and drop things onto this target manager. For example, these 2 enemies. If I drag them onto this target manager, now when I press run, it actually has 2 targets left. I can shoot this one. Only 1 target left. And of course I can turn the last one on like this. Well, that's the wall. Enemy. Targets left 0. We're used to targets left 0 sending us to a new level, however. So how do we manage this? Well, the target manager has a next level name waiting for it. So I actually need to be able to tell it which level to move to. How do I do so? Well, our levels have names, but that's not enough. To be able to have a level accessible in our game, I need to go to File, Build Settings, and it's on my other screen. Here we go. And at the top, these are the scenes available in my game right now. I've already added the first 2 for you, but let's say you wanted to make another scene by going Create Scene. Where is it here? Here. And call this Level 3. Now this scene, if I go to it, is empty. It's always a good idea when you make a new scene to always just add maybe a plane for the floor, and then to add in the basic player prefab somewhere in the scene here, just so that the player actually has somewhere to spawn. So there's the most basic type of scene that will actually function. And now what I can do is if I head back to my scenes view and go to build settings, I can actually just drag my level 3 up into here, and now it exists in the world, in my game to actually be referenced. So back in level 2, in my target manager, if I put level 3 spelled exactly the same way as down here, capitalization matters, then I'm able to actually have a teleport to level 3 be created after I kill my target. So let's get this guy. I should probably lower its health. There we go, and toggle this. Bam, I'm into level 3. So you can actually manage as many levels as you want pretty simply with this target manager, but rather than just having enemies, I've also included for you other types of targets. In particular, a target box type thing, and a kind of a circular target that's kind of meant to be floating around somewhere, maybe on a wall, like so, or maybe just kind of off in space, if that's something that's interesting to you. Let's rotate this guy, stick it off into space, and have targets to shoot. Now, adding movement to these targets is a whole other feature that I haven't added just yet. It's something that we might want to consider exploring individually. Adding scripts for moving stuff. That's something you might want to consider as a mechanic to be added. But now here, remember that I have these targets that I've added into the world. To have them count, I need to actually drag them into the target manager so that they're actually able to be processed. And I should see 5 targets in this game now that I can shoot. They should be highlighted. The prefabs just work. Remember, the boxes can actually be bounced, and the targets are just shot with one go. The enemies have, well, other mechanics as well. So that's using the prefabs, but how do you create your own target? Well, let's make one. Let's say I want to make just a simple, let's make a cylinder. I haven't used this shape in this yet. I'm just going to squish it down. Oh, I do have a cylinder. That's the target in the background. Awkward. Let's make a capsule. I'll call this capsule target. And let's just move this over here. I'm going to shrink this thing down. We don't need it to be too big. Maybe this is kind of a special thing that makes this look like some kind of a box in the corner of the room, or an enemy or a player or something that's just sitting there. A container. I don't know what you want to style this as. You might want to use your own imported, much more interesting visual objects. Put this in the corner here. So how do I make this a target? Well, like everything else, the best way to figure out how to make something is by studying what already works. I have target boxes. These are things that are able to take like momentum. So they're actually able to be bounced backwards. And then I have these other targets that are simply just shootables. So how do I actually create these? Well, the shootable ones, you'll notice that they just have their renderers, which are their visuals, a collider, and a shootable script. That's it. They have health. The target boxes, however, also have a rigid body attached to them, meaning that they're able to accept physics, which is where the push or the shove comes. So let's try both options on our capsule target and just kind of see how things go. So under scripts, what I saw before was I actually need a shootable object script here, and I can set its health. Let's keep its health at 3 right now, just like so that I can actually take a few shots at it to kind of see how things work here. And is there anything else I notice about these shootable objects? Yes, they have a tag called shootable, something that we need to be aware of. So I'm going to give this thing a tag, shootable, so that my gun can actually shoot it. And let's give this a quick test and see what happens. If I aim at this, having the target reticle appear around it is a good sign this is functioning. 1, 2, 3. It's now destroyed. Awesome. So I've made my own custom shootable thing that could be counted as a target if I just move it into my target manager. Now it should count as the 6th target. Bam, 5 targets left. So I've created my own kind of custom look to a shootable target, but this one was just stationary. I had to shoot it 3 times, it didn't move anywhere. How do I make it actually get bumped? Well, again, this target box, it has only the shootable script here, but it does have a rigid body. That's the main difference. So if I add this rigid body to this and press run, let's see what happens. Oh, I knocked it off the world. Pretty cool. So I fell off the world too. That's something that you want to be careful of. There actually is an ability to respawn us here. I don't think I added it into this game. It's something that I can maybe add in at a later time. But for now, I'm going to leave it out for now. Just don't fall off the world for the moment. You don't want to add too many features at once. This is actually able to take a physics hit. And just to kind of really see how this is functioning, if I move it a bit further away from the edge so it doesn't fall off, that's kind of cool. I'm able to knock something over and shoot it. So it's kind of like a rolling barrel type thing. So simply by adding a rigid body, it allows that physics to be processed as well, allowing you some customized options for how your targets are actually created. All right, so with that covered, you now have a few core mechanics available. You have a controllable player. You're able to generate enemies of your own, like that have their own kind of custom looks and features. You're able to generate targets of different varieties and toggleable things as well that you can interweave in all sorts of different ways to create your own custom interesting levels. I don't want to spoil too many of the design ideas you can use for you. I'd rather see what kind of creative things you can do to create interesting levels and gameplay using these features. And of course, if you're interested in adding features that aren't present here, you can always ask me, and I'll let you know if it's doable or not. And if it is, we'll work together to try to implement it to make your game even more of your own custom thing. Have fun, enjoy the process, and let's see how well you can design your own first-person shooter style video game.